Yes.
Ben was...
I asked Jim Bob.
Be quiet. I don't have much time. Okay. Ben was talking about the craft foam. You could take a steel rod, spray the dog out of the craft foam with 3M77, let it get good and tacky, and then start rolling it up. Then after it dries, you can take it, put it in a drill chuck, and using sandpaper, you can shape it to any form you want. Then you cover that with duct tape. Then you can use Velcro if you want to use hook and loop on here. Or, as you can see, I just put a okay, so pass that around too. If you need help making those, I know how. All right, so I want to talk about this stick for a minute. For these. The stick is going to go all the way through. So, you want some sort of complementary color. One way of doing the stick would be to hold it in pin jaws. Oh, I know why it's not working. The adapter. Okay? Now, the pin jaws work somewhat okay. But there's going to be a time when you need to check the tenon that you're doing. So I'm going to try to do it two different ways today. All right, so the hole that I drilled a second ago was 1/4 of an inch. So the tenon that I need to make on there needs to be 1/4 of an inch tenon. I think we've said this before. The only time you use calipers when it's turning is if the noses have been rounded. Okay? So I'm still probably just an inch big. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little longer. And now I've got it too small. So that's why I start with such a long stick. Let me make sure this didn't slip. It didn't. Okay? So
works real good for a kid.
yeah. Okay, so that's really pretty close. But I'm going to go ahead and take it down all the way. Because something that is super important is making sure it fits. Now, because these are fairly thin, I don't want to force anything on. Okay, it's still just a little proud. So I need to take a little more off. So I'll bring this back up. And typically what I do is end up making it too small now. Okay? All right. So, this is just a demo. Okay, so it fits. All right, now, what Sally Alt does, so that you don't have to have pin jaws to do it. This would fit this one? No. Is in the tailstock when she is teaching this project. She'll put a center saver, a pin center saver in it. She puts the center saver here. She'll put a small drive center in the headstock. And then when she brings this up, come on, baby. That's close enough. It'll reach that far. It will. The quill on the Powermatic is about a 4.5, 5-inch quill. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now, probably prior to, get in the hole. There we go. Nope. Yep. Okay. So, now it's supported. I can turn my shape. But at some point, you got to make sure you cut how much of this you're going to need. All right. So this is just spindle turning here. And you make a stick the appropriate size. On the two we passed around, the little one with the little decorative stick was the first one I did. After doing it, I said, I think this stick is too small. Andy Carr was at the shop one day. He's like, yeah, I like a little meatier handle. So that's why I went to the bigger, longer handle on the other one. But there is probably no right or wrong on this. I think, it needs to be sized according to the scoop. Now, after I get this sanded and finished, I glue it in with CA glue. And I get anal about these kind of things. I'm going to make sure the grain is either straight up and down or sideways, not at an angle. That's just a little thing that sometimes people look at. All right. So if you want to look at these, fondle them, I don't care. Okay. All right. Now, I was talking about Vicki. As I'm getting things changed around, I'm going to talk a little more about Vicki. Because how many of you have read this month's newsletter? Raise your hand. Okay.
Also,
Yeah. Okay. On the last page of the newsletter, I was actually looking through my computer stuff for it's this one. I was looking through my computer stuff for the handout from the last time I demonstrated scoops for the wood turners, which has been eons ago. And I ran across thank you. 28 heads are better than one. Okay.
how many of it would go take about it?
Yeah. Okay. But on the last page of the newsletter is a handout from a 2013 demonstration that Vicki Oglesby did for us. And it was her little boxes. You know, she did a great job. Now, I would probably be remiss if I didn't say right here, well, maybe you're not getting the newsletter. What are reasons you might not be getting the newsletter? Oh, your membership could have lapsed. Maybe, did you give Ron your email address?
I believe so.
Okay. Ron, did you give Michael Tim's email address so that Tim starts getting the newsletter?
Yeah, if you're not getting the newsletter, find me.
Okay. Now, back to Vicki's demo. She practiced for her demo because she is super nervous about talking in front of people. And she had done like 30 of these little cool, just gorgeous boxes. And she said at the beginning of her demo that we were going to have a special raffle at the end of the meeting with her boxes, her practice ones. And we sold tickets for $5 a piece or 5 for $20. Well, of course, I bought $40 worth. But I ended up walking away with 2 or 3, I think 3 of her boxes. Yeah. I'm going, ooh! Now, that handout is in the newsletter. Print it off. I've probably been influenced in my turning style more by Vicki and other people in our group that I've seen demonstrate over the years than anybody else. Randy Thorne. Christian. Mark. You know, Mark inspired me with the demo he did last month. I know he wasn't comfortable doing it, but it inspired me. Now, Tim Cruz has come up to my shop multiple times. And Tim asked me, he said, okay, it went something along the lines of, okay, I want to get really good at this. How do I do that?
Make mistakes.
Okay. Make mistakes is one way. But I think my answer was find a little project that you can do over and over and over and over again. Something like that? Well, I was thinking, you know, what's good for the goose might be good for the gander. Okay? Because I want to get better. And so I knew that we were running out of scoops in our inventory. So I decided to make some. And I practiced. Well, I think this was my first one. I looked at it and I'm like, dang, that's too thick. Okay, so here was my second one. It got a little better. I wasn't using Mark Shine the Light through it technique because I don't have a bright spotlight. Okay, I'm pretty sure this was my third one. This was my fourth one. Okay? I believe in bringing or showing you mistakes. I think this was number 5. I was really proud of this. I took it over to the table software. I got up all sorts of other junk. I knocked it off of the floor or off the tabletop. It fell onto the concrete and it cracked. I'm like, well, you know, I'm glad I didn't put that one in the sale because I'd hate for somebody to buy it and, if they're clumsy like me, have something like that happen to them. All right. So, I've got to come over here and get Vicky because I cheated. I measured what size Vicky drilled her hole with. And that's what size we're going to drill here in a moment. Now that can somebody tell me if I tightened up the chuck? I think I did. Okay. Tool rest is too high. That is the most common wood turning mistake. I see that over and over in classes. I can generally tell it by how the tool is cutting. So if the tool is not cutting how you think it should, set your tool rest high. Now, we've talked about tool rest heights in multiple demonstrations, but tool rest height is correct when the tool is sitting level on the tool rest and the bottom of the flute is even with center point. Okay? All right. So I am round. Okay, the first several of the scoops that I did were patterned after this zebra wood one. Okay? And, hole is probably about that deep. On my coffee scoop, I measured it one morning before I went out to the shop. I'm like, hey, those are the same. So, how deep is it? 2 knuckles. Second knuckle deep. Now, what I discovered on a lot of my scoops were like, well, why am I turning out longer than hers? Well, I was drilling them too deep. Okay? All right. So, I'm using a 1 3/8 Forstner. And because I am drilling on the lathe, I need to slow the lathe down. I'm not going to go to the tape. That's probably about enough. How deep did I go? About 1 inch. Or how deep did I go? 1 knuckle. 1 knuckle deep. All right, where's my other bit? Here it is. Okay, is Ron still here? Yes, he is. Plainview has the most incredible business in the world. Yeah, it's on the business deal. It's what?
The surplus building?
Yes, the surplus building.
Oh, yeah. I think they're closing. No.
McDonald's is closed?
I think they're closing.
No!
No, they got everything.
They do. They have everything. You might want to get up there before they close. Okay, I'm going to go about another 3/4 of an inch here.
What's the name of the salvage place in the road?
Delaney's?
No. It's like building material salvage.
I don't.
MHL?
All right.
No, it's open by the railroad.
So, one of the things I have done with these is I have used a wide variety of tools to practice this inside cut. Because this is ingrate. I need to be going from the middle out. Okay? Now, this is where bringing my light would have really been nice. But this morning I was still half asleep when I was out at the shop packing. Now, you can't tell a lot about what I'm doing here. And I can't tell a lot about what I'm doing here because my face shield is no light. Okay, so let's say man, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then. Okay, now, can you see inside on the camera? A little bit. Okay. At about 1 knuckle deep, I still have the ring from the Forstner bit. Now,
What tool were you using, Jim Bob?
I was just using a spindle gouge. Okay? almost any tool will work for this. This is a round scraper, carbide, and of course that's in my way. Okay, I use this one. On a few of them, I even try using the hook tool. I've extensively used one of Robert's negative rate scrapers. So, you know, not only is the club getting some good stuff to sell, I'm getting more practice with different tools, which I think is pretty handy. Okay, how much time do I have? Oh, 12 minutes. Okay, now, I have just sanded the inside. I'm not going to finish it at this point. All right. So now, I take my trusty depth gauge that Mark demonstrated last month, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to find some feature on the grain pattern that matches it. I'm going to put me a little mark. That represents the bottom of the cup.
By the way, Easy Wood Tools makes a negative rate scraper insert, carbide insert, that you can put on any carbide tool.
Yep.
And they're pricey, but they're works really well.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of things right here. Number one, I'm going to define my cup. And number two, I'm going to lay out some beads. All right. Now, the part, I don't need it anymore. Okay. The part I have struggled with the most is getting the wall thickness consistent because I have been too lazy to measure. Okay, I finally remembered that a friend of mine from SWAT, whose name is either Jimmy or Johnny Tolley, they're part of the operations crew. They're twins. I can't hardly tell them apart, okay? But I can come in here with a tool that he made that I bought from him, and it shows me right here how thick my walls are getting, or my walls are. Now, I'm still way thick back here. And so, you know, that kind of gives me an idea of how to do this. Now, folks, this isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. Okay? So now that I know where it's getting a little beefy, I can come in here and pick up my cut, take it down, what I discovered is I was trying to make these beads too big to start with. And plus, I forgot that I have some miniature tools. And so once I remembered about the miniature tools, I had a lot more success in getting very small beads. Okay, there's one. Here's the other one. Come on, baby, cut for me. All right, that's good enough for a demo. Clean that up. Okay, so now I've got my detail beads. And I would be remiss right now if I didn't come over and say, okay, somehow or the other, I have come up with an additional set of miniature turning tools. Do I need 2 sets? No. So if you want a miniature set, Ron will have them back here at the table. And for a $50 building fund donation, you can buy a miniature set. And plus, that gets one more thing out of my shop.
I remember where those came from. David Haynes gave those.
Oh, but you don't want them.
No.
Okay. You want one more thing out of my shop. Okay. All right. I got 7 minutes to finish our scoop. Okay, that's great. Okay, what I'm going to do now that I have sanded all this, and I'm going to define the handling. I'm not going to make that as small as you might think initially. Because all of this right here is waste.
Would you not be better off playing tail stock?
You don't need the tailstock at this point. All right, most of my work I'm doing with a roughing gouge. Now I'm going to switch back to my detail gouge. Tool rest was too high. I noticed that when I brought it up. Watch my body move. One of the secrets to being a successful turner is getting your body out of the way and it helps you make curves. All right, so now I would go ahead and sand and finish up to there. Not down into what I'm cutting. Now I'm going to grab my purple heart one that I've been letting change to more purple because I didn't bake this one. Okay, now I have finished this with my walnut oil. It's set for a day or two. I'm going to part it off. And then I'm going to go over to my scroll saw. I'm going to look at face grain, not edge grain, face grain. I'm going to look at my two face grain sides, decide which one of them I want to keep. I think I want to keep this one because it's going to look good. So that means my cut has to begin on the side I want to keep. And, I just support the handle to try to keep it level and make my cut. Then it's hand sanding time. Or, some of the earlier ones that I didn't do much hand work on. I didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I just barely eased the corners on this olive wood one. As you can see on this one, I started easing the corners a little more. And then I just think it makes it look better.
Tapers back.
Yeah. If you have some variations in wall thickness, that's an easy way to disguise it. Okay? And, these are incredible. Now, my guess is when we sell all these at the Arts Festival this year or next year or whatever, it's probably going to range between $150, $200 for the building fund. Just think, if each one of our members did something like that, let's say we had 20 folks donate enough stuff to raise $150 to $200. Woo! Ron would be walking like this because he'd be dragging that leg with all the money in the back pocket. No, I'm teasing. Okay. But
So what are we selling for?
some of the basic ones I'm probably going to ask 15 for the either the bloodwood, the olive, this mesquite one. I'm probably going to ask 25. And these thick ones,
Half a rolling pin.
I think they're at least $20. So